Hey everyone, today we are going to be talking about the coordinate plane and how to plot points and how to identify points and how to identify quadrants and all the extra little things that go with the coordinate plane. So I've got some vocabulary here to start. We're going to talk about how the quadrants are labeled, and then we're going to actually identify the quadrants, and then we'll do some point plotting, we'll do some point identifying, and all that good stuff. So this says the coordinate plane is formed by the intersection of two number lines called axes that meet at their 0 points. The x-axis is the horizontal number line and the y-axis is the vertical number line, and they meet at 0 in the middle. The quadrants says the coordinate plane is split into 4 sections. Quadrants 1, 2, 3, and 4. And they can help you determine where a point is located in the coordinate plane. It doesn't tell you exactly where the location is because you can already see that in the coordinates, but it can tell you which area of the graph it's going to be found in. The quadrants can be identified by the signs in front of the coordinates. So if the point is in quadrant 1, both coordinates are positive. If the point is in quadrant 2, the first coordinate is positive and the second is negative. In quadrant 3, they are both negative. And in quadrant 4, the first one is positive and the second one is negative. So this one is plus plus, this is minus plus, this one is minus minus, and then this one is plus minus. So in the first example, all we're going to do is identify the quadrants that these points are located in. We're not actually going to plot the points. We're just going to give the location. So again, quadrant 1 is plus plus, quadrant 2 is minus plus, quadrant 3 is minus minus, and quadrant 4 is plus minus. So for point A, negative 3/4, comma 1 1/2, it's a negative and then a positive. This is going to be quadrant 2. B is negative, negative, so quadrant 3. C is positive, negative, that's going to be quadrant 4. And then D is positive, positive, so that's quadrant 1. Now these next 2 points, 0, 2.5 and 0.25, 0, those don't occur in any one quadrant. They actually occur on one of the axes. This one, the y coordinate is the value, so this is on the y-axis. In this one, the x coordinate is the value, so this one is on the x-axis. So part E means I would stay at 0, stay in the middle, and then go up to 2.5. And then for F, it means I would go to the right 0.25 and then stay there. So if I go straight up, that's on the y-axis. If I go to the right first or the left first, then I'm going to be on the x-axis. Example number 2, we're going to be writing ordered pairs, and I had to add F, G, and H after the fact because we wanted some that were on the axes. So making sure that we're paying attention to the scale of the graph. So if you'll notice that every other one is 1. So when I'm counting these boxes, I want to be careful of that. So for point A, I'm at negative 1. So I went to the right, negative 1, and then up to 1.5. You could also write this as negative 1, 1 1/2. I don't have a preference either way. For part B, I'm at negative 1 1/2, so negative 1.5, negative 1. For C, I'm at positive 1.5, 1. So I went to the right 1.5 and then up 1. So every other box is going to be 1, so the points in between are halves. For D, I'm over to 1.5 and then down at negative 1. For E, I'm at 1 and then down at negative 2. For F, I'm at 0.5, 0. So I went over to 0.5 and then stayed on the x-axis. That means that my y-coordinate is 0. For G, I'm at 0 and then went up 1.5. So I stayed in the middle and then went straight up. And then for H, the same thing. I stayed at 0 and went straight down. So it's going to be 0, negative 1.5. So that's identifying points on the graph. In example 3, we are going to be going to that coordinate and then giving the correct letter. So -2, 1/2 is going to be R. Part B says identify the point graphed at 0.5, -2. So to the right 0.5 and then down to -2 is going to be S. And then the point graphed at 2, 0.5 is going to be T. In example number 4, we're actually plotting the ordered pairs. Now again, on this graph, making sure that we're paying attention to the fact that every other box is 1. So when I plot -4, I'm going to go all the way over to -4, and then when I go up to 3, it's actually going to be 6 boxes. So 1, 2, 3 is up here, and then I'm going to label it with a capital letter, so capital A. Part B, -2.5 is going to be in between -2 and 3, and then down to -3.5 is going to be in between -3 and -4. Now this particular graph, where it does skip every other box, makes graphing the halves a lot simpler than if we just had every one. The next one, 4.5, is going to be after 4, and then down to -1 is going to be here. And then -4, 0 is going to be back to -4 and then stay at 0. So D is here. And E0, -2.5 is going to start in the middle and go straight down. So E is on the y-axis. Plotting points is probably something that we're all pretty comfortable with at this point. Now we're just adding the quadrants and being able to identify where points are on the coordinate plane and being able to use them in a little bit different way. We will practice with some graphing, and we will practice identifying quadrants and identifying points.